In this tutorial, you'll learn how to make this transition using optics compensation, some expression controls, and a handful of other effects. By hand creating transitions, you'll have the ability to make tweaks and give them a customized look. You'll learn how to save these transitions as animation presets and bring them into any project with just a few clicks. So all of your hard work won't go to waste. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting and informative episode of 7-Minute AE Tutorials, where you learn tips, tricks, and shortcuts in 7 minutes or less. No BS, just AE. This transition tutorial will help you develop skills using adjustment layers, saving and using animation presets, and using a combination of effects that you may not have even known were possible. You'll learn skills and techniques that you can use every day at your job, for your clients, and in your own personal projects. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Support our channel by getting your 7-Minute AE merch today at our online store. And sign up for my Udemy course, The Power of Shape Layers. It's guaranteed to make you a Shape Layer Rockstar. The link to that course, to our 7-Minute AE store, and the project file and presets for this episode can all be found in the description below. I've also included a table of contents so you can go back and rewatch sections that you found difficult. Okay, there's a lot to get through, so let's dive right in. Okay, so I have these two clips that I grabbed from my sponsor's website, Envato Elements. You can use any video clips that you want. These clips are just to illustrate how this transition will work from clip 1 to clip 2. So first, let's right click in the area that's to the left of our timeline, and we're going to choose New Adjustment Layer. I'm just going to change the name of this adjustment layer to Transition. And then this is going to be a 20 frame transition. So Option Alt click the left bracket to bring your endpoint over to where your playhead is. Then hold down Shift and press Page Down twice to go forward 20 frames. Then Option or Alt click your right bracket to bring your out point to where your playhead is. We want to bring it so that our midpoint is right in the middle of these two clips. So we're at our 20th frame here and our 10th frame here. So make sure that your playhead is at this 2-second mark because we're going to be adding in keyframes and we want these keyframes to be at this transition point. Okay, so we're going to add in a bunch of effects. So I'm going to go ahead and add those in first and then we'll kind of talk about them as we go through them. So let's go up to Effect and let's choose Stylize Motion Tile, Effect, Distort, Optics Compensation, and then let's go back to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, Radial Blur, Effect, Distort, Transform. And then let's go to Effect, Expression Control, and let's add in a Slider Control. And then with Slider Control highlighted, just Command or Control D to duplicate that. And the last thing we need, Effect, Color Correction, and Curves. So we have quite a few effects that we've added to this. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to save this as an animation preset. So once we have this set, you'll be able to bring this transition back into your timeline with a few clicks of a button. So let's open up Motion Tile, click on Mirrored Edges. Let's change our output width and height to 150. Whenever you have effects that distort the edges of your frame, you can use Motion Tile to even that out and to add pixels that will extend beyond the edge of your frame. So some of the effects we'll be using will be affecting the edge of our frame. So we just want to make sure we have Motion Tile set to 150 on width and height and mirror edges. We can close that up. So open up Optics Compensation and let's set our field of view to 150 and we want to add a keyframe. And again, you want to make sure this keyframe is at this midpoint right here. And then just click on Reverse Lens Distortion so that way it fills our frame. You can close that up. Let's go down to Radial Blur, change our amount to 50, and again, add a keyframe. And then let's change our type from spin to zoom. We can close that up and let's go to Transform, add a keyframe for scale. Now notice scale is set to 100. So we want to change this to 250. And then before we make a change to this position, I want to go down here to these slider controls. Let's change this first slider control so that it says amount and the second one to speed. So basically I'll be using these slider controls to control a wiggle expression on the position values of our transform preset. So just Option or Alt click onto position and you can just type in wiggle 1,1. Okay, so now if you highlight this first one and then take this pick whip right here, make sure you're not using the one that's for the layer, but for this expression. And let's just pick whip that up to the slider control for amount. And then let's highlight this second one. And then again, make sure you're grabbing this pick whip and let's choose the slider control for speed. Now you just need to make sure that you add in one more parentheses at the end of this expression for this to work. So now this will give us the ability to control the amount and the speed of our wiggle expression. We want to add in keyframe on both of these and set them to 100. And again, make sure you're at this midpoint right here. Okay, so we can close up now, transform, amount, and speed. So for curves, let's go ahead and add in a keyframe for curves. And then you can make this whatever you want. I'm going to increase my red value. I'm going to bring down my blue quite a bit, and then maybe slightly bring down my green. So just something that looks a little off. Let's close up curves. And now with the transition layer selected, click U to bring up our keyframes. So all of our keyframes are right here at this midpoint. And the reason why I wanted to set my keyframes at the midpoint of this transition is because these are the values that will be controlling how clip 1 transitions into clip 2. Now we can go back to the beginning of our transition and set these values to 0, with the exception of scale, because it needs to stay at 100%. So if you click I, it goes to the beginning of this layer here. We can set our optics compensation to 0, radial blur to 0, this transform scale, make this 100. And then for our amount, set that to 0, speed, set that to 0. And I'm going to open up curves here. And so you see, this is what we changed it to. Now, if you choose reset, it sets it back to its default value of nothing. If you hit O, it goes to the end of our transition. Just grab all of these keyframes, copy, paste. And then we want to highlight all of our keyframes. Right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Okay, so now let's grab these first keyframes, highlight all of those, open up our graph editor, and let's just pull these handles all the way to the right. So that way it will start off slow and then go really fast. We're going to do the same thing with this last set of keyframes. So highlight all of those, graph editor, and pull all of those over to the left. Okay, so now let's go a little bit past our transition and hit N to bring in our right handle, and maybe a little bit before, say like at the 1 second mark, and hit B. So that way we have this area looped here, and then just watch it play back. So that's our transition from clip 1 to clip 2. We added in a few different effects, and as you can see, it's a pretty cool transition. As we kind of start to go towards the middle of this, you can see how that wiggle expression is working. It starts off amount and speed at 0. And as we get closer to the middle, it starts to move quite a bit, and then it comes back down. We want to save this as an animation preset, so I'm going to close up all of this, and then just highlight all of these effects. Go to Animation, Save Animation Preset, and make sure you are in your Documents, Adobe, the version you're using. I'm in 2020, User Presets, and I'm going to save mine to the 7-minute AE folder. And I'm just going to call this transition Optics Compensation, Push In, Pull Out. Click Save. If you right click on this adjustment layer, go to Effect, and then choose Remove All. And that will take all of our effects off. Now let's go back over to our Effects and Presets panel, Animation Presets, User Presets, 7-minute AE, and here's a transition that we just saved. Now this has a lot of keyframes, so one of the things that's important whenever you're adding in a preset to a layer is it's going to drop the first keyframe wherever your playhead is located. So make sure you have your playhead at the beginning of this layer. If you're somewhere else, again, you can just click I and it brings you back to the beginning of that layer. Double click this, and as you can see, all of our keyframes came in, and you can watch it play back. So you can use this as the first transition in what will eventually be a transition library. I'll be making quite a few of these in the coming weeks or months, and we can continue to build on this and eventually have a custom-made library of transitions that you can bring into any project with just a few clicks. If you like this kind of tutorial and you want to see more of these, let me know in the comments below and I'll make that happen. I hope this tutorial helped you out and that you learned something new and useful. Make sure to come back next time for another tutorial that will expand your knowledge of After Effects while teaching you some really cool tips, tricks, and shortcuts. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Support our channel by getting your 7-minute AE merch today at our online store. And sign up for my Udemy course, The Power of Shape Layers. It's guaranteed to make you a Shape Layer Rockstar. The link to that course, to our 7-minute AE store, and the project file and presets for this episode are all in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.